Yo guys, what up, what up, what up, what up? We are back in here for this What podcast. We have actual talks, real conversations, nothing is taboo, hopefully. And yeah, man, we're just here just to give you something just to, while away the whole Euros and Copa America. But look, before we go in there, we'd like to just ease you guys in. So guys, chill out. I'll be looking at the live chat to see whatever you guys are saying. How's the week been, man? I mean, how are you, Red? How are you enjoying because we're just talking off air about Euros, Copa America, and all that stuff.
Oh man, to be honest with you, for me, I'm always fantastic. I'm always in a good mood. But like these Euros, man, they've been fantastic for the neutral. But like for me, it's been rough. H just L after L.
Yeah, all your narratives have been destroyed.
Like literally, like the thing is not even just narratives. Like I was just like hoping like Lukaku would do something, and then it's like he got Benzema, and the thing is the players that I liked all played amazing. I felt Lukaku did very, very well this year. He had a good tournament. Benzema had a great tournament. Even Mbappe. Like I remember, if you remember, the last thing we talked about on the podcast last time was I was praising Mbappe for his play, and just in 2 weeks, apparently he's the most overrated trash player in the world that everybody thinks is never going to go anywhere. I'm shook. I'm like, man, like I get it. What he did, like it was huge that he missed the final penalty, and it's a learning experience. But like, we don't want to, like, it's not just about goals. If you look at what Mbappe did overall.
I think like we live in a world that is like highly reactionary, and people just want to react to things that people have this narrative. So anytime someone just feels like, boom, he's trash, it's horrible and everything, like it is what it is. Hence why you just have to just ignore it, because if you get so lost in the whole Twitter stuff and everything, you go crazy. Because
exactly. And like the thing is like with Mbappe, like it makes sense because like this guy's had a lot of fan bases rattled for the past 4 years, right? Like whether you're a Neymar fan and a Messi fan, a Ronaldo fan, anybody really, like Mbappe just bursted onto the scene. Like in his second iteration, and then second FIFA that he was in, he was 90 rated. Like this guy's like he really just like his stock like skyrocketed real quick. So obviously when you're at the top, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to come for your spot, right? They're gonna. So he's like, people couldn't wait for him to fail so they could jump on him. End of the day, he's a World Cup winner. He's still 22. He's still got years ahead of him, so he'll bounce back from this.
I was supposed to say, lastly, before we go into our main thing, does Messi win this Copa America?
Look,
no.
I'll be honest with you. Like,
I hope he does. People can call me crazy and stuff. I actually really hope that he does, because I've always said that it would be really bad for football if Messi never wins the Copa America. I think that a guy that's talented, that's good for so long, if he never won anything with Argentina, it'll be a blemish. So just for me, as a football fan, I'm like, bro,
like,
let them do something,
That's like I agree. Like you can't, like, man, like, to be honest with you, because like even though I'm not like a Messi fan, I'm not a Barca fan, I do like when we're having discussions, I just feel like the trolls always just bring this up. Messi 0 international trophies, Messi 0 international trophies. It's just such a dumb moot point. Especially because we know what Messi's capable of and like what's happened. Like obviously it's pretty bad when you look at, like, let's say he lost to Chile back-to-back, eliminating the possibility of a fluke. But like, honestly, this Argentina team, I just see a lot of promise in them. Can they beat Brazil? That's the tough question. Like,
no way.
It's like I'm looking at Brazil's team, and they're solid. They're honestly just so, like, even with 10 men against Chile, like you saw a team that can grind like that.
Red, my thing is that I think it's going to be a Brazil-Colombia final. If it isn't, and Argentina gets the final, there is no way in hell Brazil are losing to Argentina in Brazil. That is never happening.
The thing is like,
but there is no way in hell Brazil will allow Argentina to beat them in a final in Brazil. No way, impossible.
But here's the thing: is if Messi does beat Brazil in Brazil, that's just more narrative for him. It's massive. It's amazing.
I'm ready to say that it's impossible. It can't happen.
We'll see.
No, there's no you see it can happen. Look, let's get in. Let's get in. So, guys, first topic of the day, man.
Before we get into the first topic, you want to read the dubs that we have right now?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, let's get this thing. So Mr. Chainsaw says, first dub, this podcast is a positive part of my week. Thank you so much. Thanks, man. Look, stay tuned. Obviously, me and Red are trying to hash out some things, because we are trying to. I was just doing some research because I'm trying to, because I think SoundCloud now have a new thing where they now support podcasts.
Mm.
So we're going to hash some things out, and we're going to try, because basically I've got all of our previous podcasts all saved in a file.
Yep.
So what we want is to be able to basically have an account that we both share.
And upload, yep.
And have like our own SoundCloud thing, so you guys can support, and also our Patreon, where we'll basically post more stuff and extra stuff on our Patreon. So we're just trying to hash out the details, and then we'll
be
tell
patient with us, because H is like has a lot on his plate right now. So as soon as we free up a little bit, once the new year starts,
once these Euros and Cup are done, then boom, we'll be able to really properly coin up and everything, and
everything,
so
hopefully.
So and from your boy MT says, Mbappe is hibernating in the sewers with his brothers. Oh, because he's a ninja turtle. Because right, like the hate is real. The hate is real. Like, but you know what it is? Is that ever since I sent us that tweet in 2018 that says that, when Mbappe won the World Cup, Mbappe at 19 has surpassed Cristiano Messi at 19. People have been waiting for this man to fail.
Absolutely.
But my thing is that even if he did that, it doesn't negate that he's won the World Cup as a teenager. Like, that's a fact, and that is something that Messi Cristiano can never do.
And
win a World Cup as a teenager.
And he scored. He scored
the final. So it's like that's set in stone. But look, I digress, man. Let's get it on. So, let me just set my thingy. So this came about due to the whole fiasco with Germany and Hungary, where Germany obviously wanted to have the Allianz Arena printed in rainbow colors to support LGBT rights. And Hungary, I think they've just set a new law that says they don't want to expose minors to anything to do with LGBT. And obviously Germany feel like, that's wrong. That UEFA said, well, it's political to put your stuff in rainbow colors. So I was like, okay, cool. So I think shout out to Shane Schubert, who posted this comment. Because he said that, don't you think that it is good that young people are aware of what the world is? Now, here's the thing. Before we even get deeper into this, let's have an understanding. And maybe not everybody will agree with this, but let me just put what I believe. Because this is all nature versus nurture. There are people that believe that you choose to be gay or lesbian and so forth. I believe you are born that way. And so you are born that way, and maybe you begin heterosexual, but you slowly realize that rather than me cowing to what society is forcing me to do, I am just naturally inclined this way. I was not taught this way. I was not pushed this way. I'm naturally inclined towards this way. So I believe that is just what nature is. There are people who are born gay, lesbian, or whatsoever. So the argument that Shane was saying is that, hey, why shouldn't young kids be taught this? That this is what life is, because kids are taught different things as to how the world is, how the weather works, how babies are made, the menstruation cycle, all this kind of stuff. So why shouldn't they be told that, no, this is what life is? There are people. Well, most people are heterosexual, but there are a few people who are homosexual. There are people. So, because my take on that is, don't expose minors to things, because children are very, very susceptible, and children can be led very easily. I think that if you expose them to stuff like that is still a bit complicated, it could really mess with their minds. That's my argument. So where do you stand on that with regards to teaching young kids that, hey, look, I know that we are told of the nuclear family and so forth, but hey, why should they be told that, hey, man, a guy can be attracted to a guy, a woman can be attracted to a woman? I think it can screw with their minds, get their minds up. But there are people that argue that, wait a minute, this exists, this happens. Why can't they be told about how the world is?
I mean, here's the thing: it's just like, for me, like, about the nature versus nurture, I'm not educated enough to know if there's like a gene that could make you like the opposite, like the same sex or not. I'm not educated like that. But
no. But where do you lie?
I'm getting to a stage, because like how I view it is, it is none of my business what another adult chooses to do, whether they choose it, whether they're born that way. If they choose to do what, like, to be who they want to be with, as long as it's in a consensual relationship, it is not my business. Now, when it comes to teaching kids, I don't feel like that is something that kids need to learn. You can teach kids tolerance, accepting others. You can teach people patterns of thinking, like a way of deduction and logic and reasoning, where they use their brains in a certain way to break things down without having to teach them information that we really don't know. Because if it's still a debate whether it's nature versus nurture, then what are you teaching kids? If you don't really have the solid science or the facts or the evidence, you don't really have any of the information. You're just telling them, hey, well, you could. Obviously, kids are not dumb. We have to give kids more credit. When you come to kids, they will see these things naturally through their lives. So let's say, for example, if a kid goes to school and then his friend has a same-sex couple as his parents, right? Like, the kid is going to see that. He's going to ask his parents, and his parents will educate them on that. I do feel like public schools should not have the power to teach your kids everything. You teach them reading, you teach them writing, you teach them math, you teach them science. Those are the things. You teach kids how to, like, education. You educate them on the stuff. But social situations and mannerisms, that's on the parents. Now, obviously, if the kid's a child, the way he's raised, when he's going to school, he's being how can I say this, disruptive, then obviously, yes, then at that point you check the parents, you call the parents, you let them know how it is. But, like, I don't feel like, hey, just think about it this way, right? You have a child, you're sending them to school, you want them to teach school. What do you really want the teacher just teaching about, like, let's just say, like, I just feel like these kind of topics shouldn't be taught to kids because it's very sensitive. How are you going to teach a kid about not just about, like, same-sex couples, but, like, sex in general, sex ed? That's usually, I'd say, when they're around, like, high school, maybe, yes, you start having that conversation. But, like, for a kid, it's going to be very confusing to really teach about whether it's same-sex couples or sex in general or this kind of stuff. Like, they tell kids that you just pray to God and you get a baby. That's what they tell kids nowadays, right? Like, pretty much. Like, obviously the internet's there. Like, it's not like, I'm not saying they're going to be hidden from, like, the gay agenda. Like, there's no gay agenda. It's not that. What I'm saying is that when you're sending a kid to school, I don't feel like that's vital. You can teach a kid tolerance. Teach kids tolerance.
But Red, you still haven't answered my question. Mm-hmm. What do you believe? Nature?
Oh, do I? No. Oh, for me, to be honest with you, H, like, I'm a type of guy that goes based off of logic and facts. And if it's something that affects me, I will have my opinion on it. But I'll be honest with you, H, like, I'm straight. I only have 2 people that I know that are gay. There's my coworker, which, great guy, none of my business, amazing. Me and him always hang out.
Oh yeah, same as well. I have a coworker that's gay as well. Yeah.
He's in honestly top guy. Like, literally, like, everything is amazing between me and him are friends. And then I have another friend who was my ex's cousin, another great guy. Again, it's not my business. I'm not going to go and preach against them or be like, no, it's nature or it's nurture. Sorry, you can't be born that way. You choose that way. It's not. At the end of the day, it's his life to live, and what he's doing is not stepping on my toes whatsoever. So I'm going to be respectful of his boundaries. But when it does step on my toes, let's say, for example, they want to educate my kids on this stuff, I am going to speak up and be like, you know what? We should educate them in a different manner. Allow the parents to teach their kids.
Right, again, like, you've not actually told me where you lie. Do you lie nature or nurture? What do you believe?
No, it's because I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
Because if you're saying it's nature, mm-hmm. then you have to prove to me that there is a gene or a genetic that makes you gay. There's something, because if it's nature, if you're born that way, then there must be something in your genetic makeup that makes you different.
But here's my argument against that. Mm-hmm. There have been many instances where people, because this is my argument against nature. See, this is my logic argument rather than my science argument. Because, again, I'm not a scientist, and again, maybe there's not a science that says, okay, this is what it is, but this is just my logic argument. There are people I know specifically in my culture who are like, no, you must be married. You must have a wife. And once they now have, let's say, homosexual feelings, they try and fight against it. They go to doctors. They seek medication. They go to these correction facilities to try to correct them. But they can't. So the fact that you're having these urges, that you're not choosing to have these urges. So now I ask you that. So people can view it in terms of those urges are natural, or those urges as maybe a sickness.
Mhm.
and you maybe need to take a medication to cure this sickness they have. Similar to when many people say, "Oh, I just think and dream about killing people and murdering people, and I need to help pedophilia." So people's arguments against the nature thing is, oh no, this is like pedophilia. There are people who, for some reason, they're just attracted to young kids and they can't go with this feeling. So hence where these guys need to be locked off, far away and away from society. Because obviously these guys can't fight their feelings that they have this sick, disgusting attraction to young kids. So people will say, oh, no. This attraction that you have to the same sex, it's a sickness. It's an
a mental
illness.
illness. Yep.
So, but my view is, I don't think that's an illness. This way it gets interesting.
Mhm.
This way it gets interesting. Because let's get real now. The pedophile, is he choosing to like kids? Or does he just have that inclination? That's the real question. Is he choosing to like kids? Because if he has the natural inclination, lock that dude away. I'm sorry, take that dude to an island and lock him away if he has a natural inclination.
So see, that's where I what's it called? Here's like, for example, for me, HH. I remember once somebody told me like love is love, right? And like you shouldn't worry about it. It's just love is love. It's love. But then at that point, like we have to be very stringent with the lines that we're like, you know, blurring when we're doing this kind of stuff, right? Because I do believe when it's between two consenting adults, that's on them, right? And that's why I believe that, like, I would say even if we say it's a choice, I'm not gay, so obviously I won't be offended by this. But even if we say it's a choice, I don't believe there's anything wrong with that, because we are entitled to make our own decisions. If it's two consenting adults, it's nobody's business, right? You're not doing anything illegal. You guys are doing what you're doing with yourselves. It's nobody's business. But when we try to make it about nature, right? Like it's like you're born this way. Then guess what happens, HH? Then exactly what you're talking about the pedophilia is going to be an argument can be made that you're born this way. You can't help it if you're attracted to kids, right? Isn't that what essentially we would? That's the path that we essentially go down, right? Because when you talk about love is love, okay, what stops a father from having a relationship with his son? Give me one more obligation as to why they can't have that. Like, why isn't love is love? People tell me, oh, it's incest. Okay, but they can't have kids. Oh, the son could be manipulated. What if they didn't meet until the son was like estranged from his father, and they met after they're 18, they found out they're father and son, but they were in love. Love is love. Like, you have to, like, look, there's one thing in life, right? You have to have structure. You have to have like the tree, right? The tree stump, the roots. You have to have those roots, and then you grow from there, right? But you have to have that structure at the beginning to always fall back on. That's your spine. That's everything. When we start to blurring lines and just start making arguments just because we're trying to please people, at that point you blur the lines too much, where we live in chaos. It's open, like, because you're just start going to make excuses for everybody.
Red, we're already in chaos, right? Like, there's no we're living. We are already in chaos. So like, it's a point as to where it literally is. Anybody can be anybody, and anyone can do anything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, so even now we go to the original thing. I said again, I have no issues with people who are lesbian, gay, and so forth. No issues whatsoever with them. But my thing though is, because again, I was just trying to play devil's advocate. So I was playing devil's advocate in the sense of like, okay, well, why shouldn't young kids be exposed to what is happening and so forth? And here's my thing. Whether you believe nature or nurture, it exists.
Mm-hmm.
It exists. It happens. But my thing is that whether it's nature or nurture, even if it is nature, that is still something that I just think a young mind, the mind of a minor, is not ready to be exposed to. Like, I remember in my school, when I was, how old was I? I was 12. So around about 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. We used to find out that some of our juniors, so guys who were like 8 or 9, were caught with other students nude.
Mm-hmm.
Because these guys were mad. So these kids are, especially when you're in an all-boys school, there are some crazy stories I have of stuff that I heard in an all-boys school, really messed up crazy stories and stuff that happened. So because when you're with all boys and everything, you get some very mad, sick people. So if
That's
you now
true.
compound that with, hey, they're men that like men, then what does that 8-year-old do? Who's already a bit crazy? He says, "Oh, well, men like men. Let me go and grab this guy's balls. Let me go and kiss this guy there." Then you have madness.
Mhm.
You have
No, and
madness.
that's why
So
HH, like I said, like if you're gonna teach kids anything, you teach them tolerance, teach them lines of reasoning. That's what we should teach kids. We don't teach kids what is and isn't. The thing is when you're with education, whenever it comes to science or learning, the worst thing that you could teach, and this is how you have like nationalism or like Nazis that really rise up, is when you tell people that there's 100% something that's right. There's nothing ever 100% right. Unless it's math, everything is vague, everything is debatable, everything is up for discussion. It's about like being open-minded. Like there's nuance in every situation. Even in science, if you look at any true man of science, this is why I laugh when some people are like, well, I'm a man of science, I just follow the science. Like, well, science is inconclusive. Science is we have theories. A lot of them are theories. We base that, you know what, like what goes up must come down because this is just what the laws of physics are. But they don't really know exactly what it is. Any new discovery could change the format of science as it is right now. So what I'm trying to say is like, you can't really. How are we teaching kids something like nature, nurture, all this stuff?
and also very quickly, and the key thing about it because I did my degree was on history and philosophy of science, and what I always do with science is there's a thing called falsification.
Mhm.
So when you put forth a theory, everybody tries to falsify. And once your theory defeats all falsifications, it then becomes fact. So the nature of science or for anything is, hey, this is just my theory. And I'm putting my theory out to be tested. So when I put my theory out, it isn't fact. No, I put my theory out because I want you to break it down. Now, if I have fought against all of these falsifications and so forth, then hey, we cannot put this as fact because people have argued this and so forth. So my thing is, with anything that's out there, as you said, nothing is conclusive
Mhm.
because you always have to question everything. And you see, and it's an interesting point that you raised, and I don't even know what guys in the live chat think because it's an interesting debate: nature versus nurture. Do you choose to be gay?
Mhm. And here's the thing, HH.
But I think someone even in the live chat even said it is that what, and this is my argument against against nurture or choice. The black man in Uganda.
Mhm.
So for what about sorry, the Ugandan. Everyone in Uganda is black. So the Ugandan. Do you realize that if you're found to be gay in Uganda, you can not only be jailed, you can be killed.
That's insane.
You can be killed. Why would you choose to be something that's gonna have you killed?
Yep.
So my argument for nature is obviously you can't fight this thing because you're like, bro, I'm like, I don't want to wait. Why would I want to choose to be something that can potentially have me killed?
Mhm.
You see, this is different from stealing because I have to steal to survive. So I know that stealing can lead me to either being in jail or prison, but no, I need to do this to survive. So that's why I'm stealing. But so for the person who is now gay, why would they choose to be homosexual when they know what the
Now,
ramifications of this could be? Hence why in Africa specifically, they are extremely covert. Because
mhm.
if anybody finds them, they're dead.
Like,
You know?
but here's the thing: is just like, now, this is okay. So, guys, this is not science. This is not like this is just the ramblings of a madman. Because I'm gonna be crazy for this. I might get canceled. But like, when it comes to, I've heard this before. Is that apparently when if a kid is touched or if a kid like is like if there's any anal penetration, it's a very highly addictive like orgasm you can have. It's very like that's why they tend to say like some guys they like fingers in their ass, like that Kanye thing, because apparently it makes them harder. It makes them like it's a very strong stimulant. At the same time, it causes a rise in estrogen, which makes the men a bit more effeminate, especially when at a young age. If you actually like look at, for example, Milo Yiannopoulos, he even said like when he was a kid, he was molested. He had a relationship with a priest, and typically I feel like that tends to push people towards like somebody like that. You can't tell them they had a choice, because if when they were a kid they were touched and they have that sort of addiction to that kind of high, right? Because you're used to that orgasm, right? You're used to that. And then you grow and you're like, you know what, this is what I like. This is what I've always wanted. It's like somebody who learns how to smoke when they're a kid. They can't just quit smoking.
Oh yeah.
It at that point, even though it might not be nature, I do still believe that the person did not really have much of a choice.
No. See, Red, that is nurture. Because see, that's separate. See, for me, I think nature and nurture can exist 100%. There are people who are, let's say, bisexual or so forth because they got molested. So obviously, if they got anally penetrated forcibly and so forth, and they grew used to that, that will now be your norm. But that for me is nurture because that's what's forced upon you. That is different from nothing was forced upon me. I wasn't molested. Yeah, I did nothing happen to me, but I just found myself attracted to could be, guys. So like I think there can be two different schools.
No, that's the thing. Like for example, like my work that I actually asked him. He just tells me, to be honest with you, it's just the lifestyle. He likes it. Like he like since he was a kid, he was always into hair. He was always into like braiding. He was always into like clothing. He always into like hip hop. Like his favorite rappers like Nicki Minaj. Like he's a huge Nicki Minaj fan. He loves watching like reality TV shows. He loves watching like Jocelyn's Cabaret. He always talks to me about that stuff. Like it's just the lifestyle that he's in. That's what he was sort of like born into. That's what he's sort of like raised from. And he was just always accepting of it. There was nobody that touched him. There was nobody that affected him. He just simply identified with that culture, with that society. And he pretty much put on took on all the roles of it, right? So there is absolutely like, that's why like the thing is, as a kid, your brain is very malleable. This is why I don't feel like you should let kids' brains just develop on their own. Just let life happen to them. When you come in and you start telling kids about these things and like you glorify something, essentially what it does is it does in a sense brainwash them and affect the way they think. It puts them down a path, and I don't believe that we should. I don't believe that we should be doing that to kids in any aspect, not just in when it comes to homosexuality. Because homosexuality, let's be honest, it's not like the LGBTQ is not like a huge problem the way some people like to make it out to be. I know some people that are very stringent about it. Like, no, there's a gay agenda. Everything, they're coming to get us. They're trying. It's not like that. It's just it's something that's more prevalent now because of social media. So it's more in front of it's more in front of us. So we're more like it's more visible to us. But in reality, if you actually look at the numbers, there's still a very, very small minority. I know that because obviously a lot of like musicians and a lot of actors tend to speak on it. It makes it seem like it's more everywhere, but it's not really like that. So I don't feel like we should be teaching these kids about a situation that really isn't as prevalent as we like it to be. I think to actually combat this problem, you teach tolerance. Teach kids to be accepting of people, to understand if it's two people that this is what they want to do and they're not hurting anybody. It's not your business. You focus on yourself, you as an individual. You don't want to go and teach a kid like, well, when a man loves another man and a woman loves another woman, because somebody just football for you just asked a question, how do gays procreate? Like, that's the thing is like, because when you're talking about these kind of relationships, you're gonna have to speak.
They can't.
They can't. They can't. You have to speak to kids about this, HH, because when you talk about same sex, you have to talk about sex. That's the thing. And kids should not know about sex until like at least they're 15, 16 years old. I feel like once they're in the 9th grade in high school, I feel like that's the appropriate age where sex education should be there. Grade 7 and grade 8, they should probably teach about like the at least that's how it was for me. For us, we learned about in grade 7 and grade 8, we learned about the anatomy of the human body, whether it's the uterus for the woman, the vagina, and all this stuff, and like the labia, and then for the man, you have the the scrotum and the like. We learned about that, and then like. And then in high school, you learn about sex. And then like gradually, once you grow up, you'll see the LGBT, you start connecting the dots. Oh, so they have sex like this. These guys have sex. Because like, I just feel like it's a bit too confusing for the mind of a child. Really, it really is. You can teach a kid tolerance. And that way, that will grow with him with ages. He doesn't really have to adapt or like it because you're just teaching kids that people can be different. People like different things. Some men love like, and the thing is why I don't think also I really don't feel like it's a choice. Is that we all have our kinks, right? You have your type of woman that you find attractive, right? Like, let's say for example, hypothetically speaking, I personally find all women beautiful. I really don't have any specific type, but let's just say for example, I was not into white women. That's it. I just like brown skin. I like black skin. I like darker skin, or like Asian. Like, I just don't like the vanilla, conventional beauty type, right? Um, I didn't choose not to be with white women or anything like that. I just can't help it. They're just not my type. They don't do it for me. They just don't turn me on, right? Like, I prefer to have a more darker toned woman, right? It could be the same for other men. They could be like, you know what? Women don't do it for me. I'm attracted to the male body. He could be raised in a household where everybody in his household there's a very strong female presence and not a lack of male presence. So when he's watching TV, he sees how the women are reacting to the men, and he wants to get involved with the women in his household. So he starts reacting to men the same way, and he grows up thinking that that's what beauty is, that's what attraction is, that's what you want to get. And we don't know that. Like, again, I'm rambling. I'm not saying this is anything is facts or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, this is just my perception on the situation, and I feel like it's very nuanced about the nature, nurture, or anything in between. But sorry, but does teach racism make kids see? Do you want to read the W.H.A.T?
Okay, let me see that. All right. Thank you for Alex B for that dub. He says, I agree, but do you teach race? Does teaching racism make kids racist?
Because can I respond to that? So what I'm going to say is, like, that's my key point there is tolerance. Is you teach kids tolerance to other people. You teach kids tolerance for others. It's not that teaching racism.
How do you know, Bob? Is he red? See, I have to speak from experience. So maybe all schools are different. So I couldn't speak from experience.
Go ahead.
If you teach about racism and tolerance in my school, I can only speak for my school. People will laugh and make fun. Like, I remember whenever, like, we had, like, talks about Martin Luther King or something like that, guys would just crack jokes. Just start coming. You can't teach kids to be tolerant in school. Do you know where that comes from? The parents. The teacher cannot teach that child to be tolerant. The parent is who teaches the child, because if the teacher tells the child that blah 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 that, and then that child goes home, and then that child now hears his father insult this Chinese dude, insult this black dude, insult this Arabic dude, and so forth, who do you think the kid is going to listen to? The father or the mother that's the idol, or this teacher who, first of all, you hate school already, and most likely you hate the teacher as well.
Yep.
So why the heck am I going to listen to you about be tolerant towards other races, be tolerant towards? No, I'm going to listen to what what's it called? I'm going to not really listen, do what my father does, what my mom does. Because see, I knew people. I remember there was this guy in school who I could tell that within him, he was a nice dude. I could tell that he was a nice dude, but he was always prone to say racist things. But I knew that deep down he was a nice dude. Because I remember, what's it called? I remember this dude, and this guy was the nicest guy. Nice guy, very soft-spoken, and so forth. One time we were watching Arsenal play. And this is when Henry was still playing for Arsenal. And guys, this guy was the nicest guy, relaxed, blah, blah. So he obviously had a few drinks. I know what they say. If you're drunk, it brings out the real you. This guy, he walked in, and I think because he saw Henry, he was like, hey, Henry, man, where's your banana, man? Where's your banana? Where's your banana? Blah, blah. I was like, whoa.
That's actually
because I was shocked, because I was like, prior to this moment, he was the nicest, coolest. But then I remember when I saw his father, because, parents used to come, and I was like, I could just tell that his father just had like a racist thing about him. So here's the thing. Here's a guy who I know in his nature, he is racist. He is a nice guy within him. But he must learn this stuff from his father. So the school can't teach that child to be tolerant. That's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
You're absolutely right. Like schools, they're like, but the thing is, HH, is that, look, whether we like it or not, it's the child's head is very malleable, and it subconsciously you absorb information. And have it tough. Real love is not harmful. Yeah, no, I mean, it depends. Again, we have to. We can't use love as an argument, though. We can accept it. We can be tolerant of it, but like we can't use it as an argument for things. But no, sorry. What was I saying? I actually lost my train of thought. But like the thing is, kids are very malleable. They're very impressionable. When you teach them something, they would always like even I forgot where I read this, but like apparently whenever you're in this class or you're in a lecture or anything, typically you remember 15% of it. Even from this podcast, right? Like for everybody that's listening, let's say it's an hour long, you're only going to really remember just 15% of this podcast. The rest of it, you just might. And that's like when you rewatch something, it's going to be like, oh, I didn't remember them saying that, even though you listened to it, but your brain only captured 15%. So you never know when you're teaching kids about this kind of stuff. Like, again, I would like to see the curriculum if they are going to implement something like this, even though I don't feel like this should be implemented because, again, we don't have anything conclusive. Like, you should be teaching kids absolutes. That's why you teach kids literature, because that's how you read. That's why you teach kids math, because that's how you calculate. They're absolutes. That's why you teach kids physics, because if you want to build, if you want to understand the mechanics of something, this is how you measure it. This is how you calculate the force, the velocity, all this stuff. You want to teach chemistry. We're teaching kids absolutes, things that we know if you do A and B, you will get C. You know what I mean? Like when we teach that stuff, when it comes to abstract thought and debate, you can't teach kids nature and nurture and about like this whole stuff when they're like 6-7 years old. Like they're barely learning the alphabets and their multiplication tables, and you're putting that on their table. Like I just feel like that's more social like structuring, less so education.
And because the kids, it's like that's like, what are we doing here?
Like
and also is it my thing is people have to understand that me saying that you can't teach kids about LGBT does not mean that I am now homophobic. Because they'll say that you're homophobic because, oh my gosh, why? Do you think what we're doing is disgusting? No. Kids, because people will just take that as a personal insult. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that these are kids. They will find out when they grow up and so forth. They will find out, oh, this is what stuff are. Why do this is my question. Why do you need to teach kids about this when they're young? That's the real question. Why do you need to teach them? Why is there a need?
I wasn't taught it when I was young, and I think I'm very tolerant and I'm very accepting, and I'm very. You don't need that. And you know what? You know what my biggest fear is? This is what my biggest fear, and why I'm personally against it. Right? I recognize the fact that people are very passive nowadays, and they're very lonely and isolated, and they tend to go with groups, right? They like whatever group accepts them, right? Like, oh, I'm a lone male that really isn't getting a lot of female attention. I'm just gonna go and be red pilled, right? And I'm gonna sit in this group. Oh, I'm hardcore religious, yada yada. I'm gonna go sit with this religious group, and they'll just go in these echo chambers. They'll find something that they could label themselves with, so they could belong, so they don't feel lonely, right? So when you have little kids, and let's say if a kid feels left out or anything like that, he will end up going into he'll start falling for, oh, the LGBT, oh, they're accepting me, yada, yada. I'm part of this group now. And he goes and, let's say, for example, identifies with it, even though at his core he doesn't feel like it, in which you do have a lot of situations like that where gay men, I don't know if you guys remember that old YouTube video that it was like, hide your kids, hide your wives. That guy was gay. Right. But then he realized that like he's now a straight man, and he's actually married and he has a kid, because he said that like he was sort of influenced as a child to think that this is what he wanted. But once he grew up and like he sort of like became his own thing, he found that no, I want to be with a woman. I want to have a kid. And again, I'm not saying this to bash gay people or say that there's anything wrong or anything bad about it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you start teaching it to kids, kids don't know right from wrong. Kids don't know left from right. Kids just want to belong and have friends and have fun. They're just living day by day and learning. So they might just see this and be like, oh, this is something that I could be a part of, just to add that label, right? Like and they would go far. They would go and start making these decisions. They would start making, like, they would fall into this pathway. And personally, I just feel like that's wrong. That's why I feel like teach kids the fundamentals. You teach kids tolerance, teach them like line of reasoning, teach them deductive reasoning, teach them math, science, all that stuff, and then let life happen. And with the way that we've set them up, we've equipped them through our education system, you let them react. That's how. You don't tell kids that this is absolutely right and this is absolutely wrong, and you can do this, but you can't do this, right? The only reason we teach procreation in school is because that's how the human body works. It's how you have become pregnant. It's how you explain it to them. You tell them like, this is why. We don't teach it because we're trying to teach heterosexuality. We're just teaching them human biology.
So wait. Let me, and this is because we're getting to a very interesting area now. Because I want to now bring this into people now. I want to now talk about parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a question I have for you, and also for the live chat as well. So shout out to the live chat. This is a question for the live chat and for you as well. What is your emotion or your thinking when you see kids and both parents are either guys or women?
What do I think? I think that's normal. I think it's just a household, like a regular household.
But is that just where it ends? So you see kids and both of their parents are both guys, both of them are both women. Because okay, let me kick it off, and then you can maybe see what I feel about it. So
no, but like here's the thing.
Okay. Let me just hit it, and then there's not. I mean, parents are parents. As long as you're good parents and so forth, it's cool. But this goes back to the function of the man and the function of the woman. You know, like
just real quick. Shouts out to Lion Tamer in the chat, man. Long time. This guy's actually been gone forever. Yeah, he's in the chat. He's in
back?
The chat. Yeah.
Where is he?
What's good, Red? Long time, Sonny Vincent. Yeah, there you go. Tamer, man.
This is from way back in the day, man. This is like from years ago, man.
Yeah. OG Tamer. Yeah. I think.
So my thing is that, look, again, if you're a good parent, you're a good parent. That's all cool. But my thing about this is that if you have two guys as parents, where does the nurture come from? The care, the emotion. If you have two women as parents, where does the leadership come from? Where does that kind of, I am here leading and so forth? Because now, guys may say, you're wrong, I don't give it that. See, this is my viewpoints. And the beauty about this discussion group and everything is we just give our honest views. Whether you agree or disagree, our honest views. My honest view is there are things that a man can do that a woman can't do. There are things that a woman can do that a man can't do. There are things that a woman can give kids that a man can't give. I believe that for us, I did lose something not having a strong father figure. I know I did. Now, obviously, my father figures were my big brothers, but they can't really fully give me what a father can give you. So obviously, like, our mom was the person that really raised us, and she has a sort of coverable function, but know that my mom can't give me what a guy can. She can't. She can try, but she can't. And we knew that she can't, because women are just more emotional. Now we obviously have things that are screwed where women now want to be guys and everything's all effed up. But that's why I asked you and I asked people like that is that if you have two guys or two men as parents, can the kids really get the full spectrum of parenting in the traditional sense that comes from the father and the mother?
See, here's the thing, is I'll be honest with you. I feel like the family structure ever since like the 1960s has been on a decline where it's been nuked essentially. And you have a lot of kids that are growing up in single parents households, and nobody talks about that. Nobody ever has a problem when it's a single mother or a single father that's raising a child, and the child's actually 90% of the time he's alone because the parent is either working or doing stuff. So I personally believe as long as you have a two-parent household, I think that's, for the most part, it's positive for the child. Now, do I agree that it's 100% better than, let's say, for example, I believe it's better than a single parent household, but I don't believe it's better than a mother and a father. And the reason for that is I do agree with you because, like you, I do have that belief. I do have the belief that women have this sort of emotional intelligence, whereas men have this more of like cutthroat logic. Right. So there's that beautiful balance when you're raising a kid where you sort of get that both from both your parents. But that's because I grew up under those circumstances. I've never grown up under a gay family. I've never even actually been in touch with one. I've heard of them like in my region, but like I've never actually interacted or seen a child like that. And not to and I don't want to seem like ignorant or like try to like bash someone, say it's worth, but I do believe that it's like in the long run, to be honest with you, with a lot of these kids nowadays, like it's much better than living in a single parent household nowadays. It's much harder on the parent to be able to really put their effort into that child. And what I mean by effort, it's not that the child will turn out bad or anything. It's that, think about it this way, HH, is that if let's say for example,
100%, like Having two parents, whatever they're the same, is better than having a single parent, man. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
And, see, Wagon Hitch gets my point, where he's saying about like the lack of fathers in the house all the time. Like it's true, because a father figure in your household, he is your metric to stop. Like he's like your sort of like guide, right? He's the image that you want to make yourself in, almost. And I do believe that you need to have sort of that balance, right? Because you need your mom to sort of like show you that like it's okay to be vulnerable. So like to sort of like, be soothing with you, to be like maybe a bit harsh or anything, but like you need that. But at the same time, you need your father to sort of like show you like how a man goes through it. Like, I'll be honest with you. I saw my dad my entire life of 27 years on this planet. My dad cried I saw my dad cry once, and that's only when his mother passed away. That's it. When his father passed away, he was in a different country, so I didn't get to see him. But when my grandmother passed away, that was the only time that I ever saw my dad cry. Aside from that, even when times were hard, even when, let's say, the Civil War broke out and like all this stuff, my dad was always like a strong figure. Where my mom was like, the one that worries and talks and all that stuff. My dad was one that was always like sort of like, I always felt safe around him as a child. I always felt like this man is the strongest man on the planet. I actually thought my dad was the strongest dad in the world. Like, he was always like that. So that for me gave me sort of like the structure, right? And I do believe that it's like the people do have that, like that do need that subconscious. I feel like it just breeds more confidence into the person. It breeds more because they feel like this is what I'm doing is right. I follow through with this. Now, I went on a huge tangent. I went on a huge tangent. But what I mean is that what I'm trying to say is that I do believe that, look, same-sex households, I do think that overall they're a net positive on the child. Because for a child to have parents, to have people that care for them in their life, for a child to have people that are willing to invest their time into their development as a youth, to teach them kids. And hey, like maybe for the people like me who were never experience this kind of stuff, if I see like a successful same-sex households, it'll change my mind. I'll be like, no, this is clearly good. Yes, there could be some sick people out there that just want to be close with kids, but at the same time, I'm seeing a lot of people that are just trying to adopt because they can't procreate. And they want to raise children. They want to have a legacy. They want to have that. And you know what? If I'm not those kids, I'm not gonna take them over. If they're orphans, I don't personally. This might sound awful, but I don't believe in adoption.
Wait. Why not? What do you mean you don't believe in adoption?
I guess like I won't adopt. Not saying that it's not. I don't believe that people should adopt. I'm not gonna adopt personally. I want to have my own kids. Hopefully.
No. Okay, but what if?
So if like I'm not going to adopt them, I'm not going to stop other people from adopting them.
No. Okay, but let's look at the scenario. You love this woman. You're married together. It's great, and she's like your soulmate. Mm-hmm. For some reason, medical reasons, she can't have kids. For medical reasons, and you want to adopt. What's the situation? I got you.
No, I'm cheating. I'm gonna leave. Unless if it's me, then like tough luck, Abdul. Next lifetime. I'm sorry, man. Like,
no. I'm sorry. We did honesty here. We did honesty here.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, like, bro. Like, see, Arsalan got it right, bro. I'm gonna marry a second wife, bro. I can marry like in Islam. You can marry like. I'm gonna be like, yo, bro. I need kids, bro. Bro, you don't understand, bro. I'm prepared, bro. No. Yeah, you never know with HH. He'll just throw a curveball at you.
Yeah. No, guys. This is. I'm a curveball merchant. That's interesting.
Yo.
That is interesting. So
Vincent actually brought up surrogate mother. There you go. Science, man. Thank you. I wouldn't divorce. Like, honestly, no, guys. Like, here's the thing, guys. I don't mean to be cutthroat. Look, I'm single, so obviously I'm not talking about. Obviously, when you're with somebody, it's not that easy to make these like decisions. Like, oh yeah, no, leave. Obviously, because I'm single, I could talk like a bit more reckless.
Cool. Let me just. So what you would say? Okay, so what you would do is. You love this woman, soulmate, deeply in love. This is your love of your life. You are madly in love with her. Mm-hmm. Medical reasons, she can't have kids because it's too dangerous. Would you then have a discussion with her saying that I want a biological kid? I'm going to have a kid with this woman. Mm-hmm. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, I think
so that's the conversation you would have with her. Okay, what if she says She's not happy with that.
Kick rocks. Like, bro, I want a kid, bro. Like, you like literally, like 90% of the reason why I want a woman in my life is because I want children. I want legacy. Like that's our core as men. Like, I'll be honest with you, it's just like, don't get me wrong, like I love companionship. I love a woman. I love to be married and all this stuff. But bro, you gotta like, bro, like you need to have a lineage, man. Like, listen, nothing is sadder.
Wait. One other question again.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is key. Now guys, now we're getting real. Now we're getting real. A kid you adopt,
mm-hmm.
you don't really view that. So, no, better question.
Mm-hmm.
So we see like Angelina Jolie, all the people that have adopted these kids and so forth. So you don't view them really as their children.
Like, they aren't. Like,
no.
The thing is look. That's
wait,
I'm gonna explain something real quick. For Angelina Jolie, for people that are in extreme positions of wealth, I commend them for what they do. That is beautiful because they have a
Madonna.
Even Madonna, because like they've been given a lot. Like they have a very large wealth.
Already, it's messed up. Like, because even Spielberg as well, like a black kid being brought up by two white parents. How do you have the racism talk?
I don't know. See, that's why I can't do it. Because like the thing is the reason why I don't do adoption is because, like, look, I'll be honest with you. My reasoning comes from a position of Islam, like from Islam, right? Is because I don't think that I can have somebody that's not of my blood, that's not blood related, just walking around while I have my wife around. You know what I mean? Like or like women around in my household, stuff like that. Like you will always.
Blood relate. That's very important.
Yeah, blood.
Somebody that's of your blood.
Yeah, okay. Of course, it's a blood relation. It's not halal to have just another man just in your house, stuff like that. Like, no, I'm not against helping people. Like, let's say for example, like, but I wouldn't consider that. Like, I wouldn't consider adoption. Let's say if I was in the same position as Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, and I had money and I had all this stuff, right? Like, if I had that, then obviously I would go and help kids. I would literally go and like technically adopt, but like I wouldn't tell them to call me dad. Like, call me big bro. If I adopt a kid, I'm gonna like, yo, what's good, little bro? He's not gonna like, he's not like, he's not my kid. Like, you could technically become a father figure, but I just don't, like, for me. No, true. Like, it's not that family is just blood, but like I said, like I like in at least in my like how I was raised, like it's just for me, adoption is just not for me personally. And I'm not gonna stop people from adopting. I think adopting is beautiful. It's just that I'm being open with you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you and sit here and pander to you guys and tell you like I'm also saying if you adopt, you can convert them to yourself. True, bro. You could do that. But I was a donor baby. Dad got injured in the Navy SEALs and couldn't have kids. So I'm a result of my mom, a donor in a machine. Bro, that's beautiful. Like, and like I don't like, again, like I'm not against, like, we live in a huge world. There's 7 billion people out there. There's different conditions, different lifestyles. There's different decisions that people make. I'm not against any of that. Like, each of us have our own, like, you know, path that we go down, right? For me personally, like, inshallah, like what I hope for is to get married, settle down, and just impregnate my wife, man. Like, just the old-fashioned way, bro. Like, I want that baby to come from my balls, man.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Like,
no.
Dave Chappelle joke. You know that Dave Chappelle joke where when he was like, when his son gives him the macaroni drawing, and then Dave Chappelle looks at it, he's like, "Damn, you don't know how crazy this is. You were my balls, man.
Yeah.
My balls, man." Like, bro, that's
you're in my balls.
Yeah, like, bro. See, I want to say that to my son one day, man. Like, that you can't just take that away from me.
Look, see, for me, I mean, because see, this is what I've always said, and this
man.
Like, I've always said that I can't have mixed race kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like for me, here's my big thing is not having children. For me is very big.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said no, because I've got to choose the right woman, because now you're the mother of my kids. Forget about us. No, you're the mother of my kids, so you're very important to this whole situation. So I think my thing is that, because I've always said no, it is very important to me that my kids are black.
Yep.
And I am, because see, it's
the thing is, you know, mixed kids tend to cling on to their culture hard. Like, for example, Hazim is mixed, Bro, Hazim is way more prouder than me when it comes to like Islam or like Arab or like his lineage, whether it's Polish or Arab. Because when you have that sort of, I personally feel, this is my perspective, that when somebody tells them that maybe they feel like they're lesser than because they're not full fledged, right? They tend to overcompensate by going harder in that direction, right? And not to say, Hazim, that I know what your key is, but like I do believe that like being mixed, that doesn't technically have to be a negative thing. I don't mind mixed, to be honest with you. Like I'm not anal just about being with a Muslim Arab woman. Like I don't like. I'm very open minded. If we click, we click.
Oh no. My thing, wait, it isn't racist. Me saying that I want my kids to be black, how is that racist?
I can't. My opinion on it is that's his preference. We're allowed to have preference in the.
No. Racist means that I am against a race, and I feel I have antagonism towards another race. Me wanting my kids to be of a particular race isn't racist. A white person that says that I want to have white kids, how's that racist? Now, a white person that says that screw black people, let black people born in hell, yeah, that's racist. But a white person who says no, I want my kids to be white, oh my gosh, that's your choice. Cool. So no, it's not, and I just don't think that I'd be able to raise a mixed race kid. I just think that for mixed race kids, they'll just be confused. And I just don't know how I can tell a mixed race kid to ignore my mom's race, to ignore his or her mom's race. I can't do that. So for me, it's just simpler and easier. Just simpler. If no, you're black. I'm black. Your mom's black. You're black. Boom. It is what it is. If it's okay, if your mom's not white, so like, well, you're black, you're white, but really you're black. Also, even if you're white, but you know.
But also to clarify, is H.H. isn't just speaking black in the sense that you just have to be like dark skin color. He wants of the same culture, correct? H.H. like you want of the same like African culture, West African culture. Yeah.
Preferably.
Yeah, because like he I'm pretty sure like if it's like a Brazilian, let's say, like I said, we talked about this last week, where like if it's a Brazilian black chick, you're gonna have the same differences with her as you would with, let's say, a white chick. It's not just about just the skin color. It's just that it's when we refer to black, it's because like that's our common slang nowadays, that black is considered, this its own thing. When black is not a monolith. There's so many different kinds of black people out there.
No, actually, wait. Alex, maybe because now this is an interest. This is an interesting. This is interesting because my thing is there are some people. You see, this goes back to conversations that because I was talking to a mixed race lady about this like some days ago. That okay, if you're mixed race and you now see yourself as black, what about your mom? So that's why, like, I would and see, I've had this conversation because I've had this conversation with Daniel. I've had this conversation with Mary, with some mixed race woman who said, "No, I'm black. I live black. That's how I'm black, and I chose to be black." And I'm like, cool. That's cool. For me, if I've married a white woman and I've procreated with this white woman to have this kid, how am I telling the kid, yo, ignore this white chick who actually gave birth to you? You're actually black. Now, that makes sense because the world sees you as black. The world doesn't see you as mixed race, it sees you as black. But first for me, I'm like, so you're black, but your white mother is what? Just so but that's just me. That's just me. I would find that very hard to
and also for people just to be considerate as well, HH, is that they have to consider, like, Alex, like maybe for you, like because you were born and raised in one area for like your parents, like, together.
Wait, so quickly. Wait, Alex, do you see yourself as black or mixed race? Answer me that in last. So, Alex, do you see yourself as black or mixed race? Right, go for it.
No, because like what I was talking about is HH, like I think for people like me and you who moved a lot around as kids, right? Like you said you were in Belgium, Brussels, and then you moved to England.
Who,
correct?
Me?
Yep.
No. So I was in Geneva for 2 years.
Geneva, and then you went to England after that, correct?
Yes.
To the UK, yeah. So like when you're moving around and stuff like that, like especially because you weren't born and raised in those areas, you're always treated as an outsider, which makes you grip harder onto your pride, right? You want to like, no, I'm Nigerian, I'm 100%, because you guys don't like. I'm not gonna sort of almost like bow down or give in to your standards. Instead, no, I have my own standards. I have my own culture. I have my own pride. I don't need anything from you guys. Right? That's essentially, at least that's my read on you, HH, from what I understand, what makes you more proud in what you do. So because I'm technically the same way. It's for me, like, because of the way I look, and like I was like when I came to Canada, what happened is that like typically I always felt like an outsider, right? And instead of me just conforming and just sort of like falling in line, I instead chose to embrace my culture even harder. Like, at least I guess like when you swing the pendulum one way, it just goes the other way in another direction, just harder.
Yeah, I mean, you see, okay, let me see. This is interesting.
Yo,
because you see, Red, this is Red. Every mixed race person, okay, the three mixed race people that I know see themselves as black. They say, no, we are black.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are clearly mixed race. So like if they're clearly mixed race, but they see themselves as black. So he says, I don't see myself as black, or I see myself as mixed. That's interesting. Because a lot of mixed race people that I know see themselves as black. And it's your Red. My thing, and this is the discussion that me and my brother had. We said that mixed race people is what was supposed to make racism stupid. The existence of mixed race say, now what? They have black, they have white. Now what? But you know what happened? The one drop rule. Oh, if any part of you is not white, then we're just going to put you as black. Hang on, that's cheating. No, this person is 50% white, 50% black, so you can't label them. You can't label them. So once that happens, it's like, this whole racism thing is freaking stupid. But they enforce the one drop rule. Say, no, you mixed race guys, you're not black. So it's like, whoa. No, they're mixed race.
No, 100%. Actually, just don't forget the super chats. I'm sure had a super chat. Yeah. I like that. And by the way, just to for Bird Camp, the London Bird Camp, bro, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I have my friend. He's Irani, Persian, and his girlfriend is Filipino. And I'm gonna tell you, bro, they have kids, and their kids are beautiful, bro. That's like peanut butter and chocolate, bro. So don't worry, man. God bless.
So I'm trying to thank the door, but I'm critic. He says that, is there a valid reason for men to marry besides kids? There are legal things with regards to getting houses and so forth, and property. So I think it's easier to get property and estates and so forth if you're married. So obviously you have to show your marriage license and so forth and everything. So I think it is easier to get separated. And see, for some people, it's like a societal thing. It depends on what culture you're from. Again, I speak from as a Nigerian. You are looked at differently if you're married than if you're not married. Like if you're a woman and you're 30 and above and you're unmarried, you are seen a certain way in society. So you are more ingratiated within society if you are married. And if you're not married, you are looked at a certain way. So there's another thing with regards to, like, quote unquote, fitting in to what society wants with you and so forth. So,
for me, like, I personally, like, I'll be honest with you, HH. Here's my thing. Why I think I think there's validity to marriage aside from just having kids. Is that my brother is like, right now we're in an age right now when you're like a man from 20 years old up until, like, let's say you're 40, you don't really need anybody. You're in your prime. You could do whatever you want. There's really, like, anything pretty much you can feel like you hold it back. But I'm telling you, bro, once you hit 50, you're 60 years old, bro. When you're no longer desirable, when your friends are all busy and they're all that, it's going to be nice to have some companionship, to have somebody with you, a friend, like a wife, like somebody that you grew old with, somebody that you're sitting there with. You will feel it then. So do be careful, because, like, yes, bro, like right now you don't need it. Like right now, I agree. I get it. If a young man comes to me, he's like 28, 32, 33, 35 even, right? Their job is going well. They're doing everything. They have all this free time. Yeah, you're not going to really, getting married might be a hindrance to you at this point. But if you want to look further, because, well, you can't just die whenever you want. You can't just, like, at 40 years old, like, life ends. No, like, once you become less desirable as a man, you're becoming your 50s, right? Your body starts to add on more weight. You're going to start being alone. You're going to be disconnected from what's the hip, in technology. You're going to be disconnected from the younger generations. You're going to be more and more isolated. And I'm telling you, man, later on those years, it's going to be very, very hard. Like emotionally for you, it's going to be hard. So I do recommend marriage, man. Companionship. It's normal. Us as human beings, we're social animals. We require these kind of interactions. Right now, again, easy because you're young. You're the it generation. Everything is marketed to you. They're trying to cater to you. But when you get older and nobody gives a shit about you anymore, it's going to be nice to feel loved by somebody.
Oh no! I mean, so look, let's so shout out to your boy Sage, man. Thanks for the dub. So some mixed people have identity issues. Drake is one. You see, I don't care what anyone says. If you're mixed race, you have confusion issues. I don't care what anyone says. Inside you're mixed up because you can be like, oh, I'm black. Your mom's white.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just facts. So that is confusing. So you can say you're black, all the ones and so forth. Your mom is white, because that's why I always say to Daniel, because Daniel is very like pro black, and let's go. But I said, Daniel, your mom's white. That can't change. So that is confusing. So you can be very pro black and say I'm black and everything. Your mom is a white woman. So it is odd that your mom is white, but you present yourself as fully black. That's confusing. Now it's your prerogative. It's your choice. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's a bit crazy. And Drake is a great example because Drake, he did an interview with Elliot Wilson for like the title show. And then they asked him that, do you feel that you're not appreciated enough? And then Drake was like, yeah, I do feel that I'm not appreciated enough. And you could just tell that he was hinting in the fact that if he was black, he would have probably been far more appreciated as a black artist. Look at how people treat Michael Jackson. Because let's keep it real. Drake isn't Michael Jackson, but Drake is the Michael Jackson of this era in terms of how relevant he is to pop culture and pop music. And he's had one of the longest runs in history. So
he's insane.
No, like the one this is, you could argue, it's one of the greatest runs for a popular artist ever.
Yeah, 12 years it's been going. Like 12 years
also when he puts like Certified Lover Boy, that's going to be a smash hit. So so he said that for a black guy to literally own music for the best part of a decade, he feels that I've not maybe been appreciated enough to the point of, let's say I was black. And that is why there are people who maybe view Drake as to, he's black, but is he black? Because, okay, before Michael Jackson did the whole vitiligo thingy, when we saw him in Jackson 5, Off the Wall, Thrillers, I don't know, this is our guy. Put it this way, as a young kid in Nigeria, seeing Michael Jackson, it was like Michael Jackson's like this is a guy who looks like me, who is literally on top of the world. That's different from looking at a Drake guy where, this guy's mixed race. He's black, but he ain't quite that dude that I saw living off the wall and thingy. So the confusion it exists, man. So actually, what's good? I think I saw something here. So I'm sure it again says that companionship is obviously needed. Marriage, my opinion, isn't. No, this is true. I use the example of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, two actors. They've been together for over 30 years now. They've never been married. And they asked Goldie Hawn that, oh, wait, why you've been with Kurt Russell for so long? Why have you never married Kurt Russell? She said that if we get married, it will ruin this kind of union that we have.
Yep.
And she said, no, this just works. And also, guys, beware of any woman who is desperate to be married. Always be very aware. If a woman is desperate for you to get married, you're like, whoa, why are you so desperate to be married if what we have works? So always be very wary with regards to a woman who is almost forcing and pressuring you into getting married. Now, if you marry, so you feel cool. But marriage, unless you are, marriage may be the only necessity of marriage is for legal reasons, because there are some reasons where you need to show you a marriage certificate if you want this or want that or so forth. So hence why you sign a freaking contract. Marriage is a contract that you can now use and show people if you want to get stuff. It isn't really, marriage doesn't prove your love. That's BS. Marriage is not proof of your love for someone.
I mean, yeah, like you don't have like there's nothing really that's going to be proof of your love. Like getting married, obviously. Like, look, when I spoke about was companionship. Like, yes, but like my guy, your stock is going to be very low in old age. Not a lot of people are going to want to talk. Name one old man or one old woman that people go sit down and be like, oh, let me just have a conversation. Want to speak with this person. When I was working in retail and an old person comes in, I'm like, fuck my life. This guy's going to talk my ear off. I don't want to deal with this. Like, it has to be like so. That's why when you build up that from when you're younger, right? Like, let's say you're around like 33, 34, you choose, I'm going to meet the right woman. You start dating, you meet this girl, you guys click, you vibe. If you guys don't want to get married, you just want to just hang, chill, sure. But it's just, and another thing, this is a counter to yours, Goldie Kurt. There's common law for people who don't know. For example, like right here in Ontario, the province that I live in, if I live with a person for 7 years, then what's it called? We're essentially treated the same as a married couple. We could file our taxes together. If I were to, let's say, for example, break up with her, she has to be legally evicted. She has squatters' rights in my house. She can't just leave my house, and she is entitled to half, even if we didn't get married. There's common law. So like thinking that if I don't get married, that this is somehow like I'll get away from that stuff. No, like honestly, just the best thing you could do is have standards for yourself, stand up for yourself, don't be agreeable, look out for your best interest, and trust me, the person that you're with is not going to fuck you over. Like, I don't know where this narrative that men have that they feel that if I'm going to talk to a woman or treat with a woman that she's just going to cheat on me or leave or just be with me for my money. And I'm like, bro, I'll be honest with you. Like, I got it in the sense where I have a job and I'm stable and I can go like, and I have the ability to save up money and buy things and do things that I want to do, but I'm not rich. I don't have that kind of wealth. Like if anything, if I go in with a relationship, it's going to be more financially beneficial for me because, like you said earlier, obviously it will increase my spending power because we could both buy a better house together. We'll have more money to really spend. It's overall marriage is not to mention when you get married, it gives you a sense of stability. For example, when you're single, you're constantly trying to impress people because you're trying to be the best possible bachelor. You want to always be looking your best. You want to always make sure you're trimmed. You want to always make sure your hair is brushed. You want to make sure that you're wearing good clothes. You want to make sure you have a watch, all this stuff, because you want to make sure that when you're out, if you meet a girl, you have the possibility of getting with this girl, to getting to know her. When you're with one woman, right, and you guys are for each other, the only thing you guys are trying to impress, you guys are trying to build together, right? Get a better house, get a better car, get a better lifestyle, better the lives of your kids. You say I live in 1975, man, but bro, this is a modest head like mindset. Bro, there's no reason for you to go and chase 10, 15 women.
So let's just keep moving on. So let's talk about Bill Cosby. So have you heard the latest news read about Bill Cosby?
Yeah, bro, he's out.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Let's start really at the beginning. Growing up as a kid in Nigerians and so forth, two of the shows that we used to watch a lot were A Different World and The Cosby Show. So basically this is back when we have to have VHS. So this is before streaming and so forth. We'd have to wait for the show to come on, and my sister would pretty much record all of the shows and everything on tape and so forth. So Bill Cosby was big. So when I heard this, I was like, whoa, Bill. And then the fact that he went to jail, I was like, oh my God, Bill Cosby in jail. And look, guys, okay, let's be honest here. Let's be fully honest here. Whether it was true or not,
he definitely did it.
Oh, no. Of course, like, look, Reddit, it's 60 women. And you see, people will be like, oh, no, numbers are like, see, this is when you have to use pure logic. If 5 women say something, it's like 60. See, 60, that's beyond it. See, 20 is a pattern. 60, that's beyond a pattern. So
I mean, he himself admitted it in night talk shows when he said that Spanish fly joke about how back in the day you put the Spanish fly, it makes the woman a bit woozy, and then you take her. He literally, it was culturally accepted back then in the 70s and 80s. Date rape was huge. It's in movies. If you go back to the movies of the era in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, it was accepted that men do this. It's pretty fucked up. And the thing is Bill Cosby, and even if you go, there's Bernie Mac, right? Bernie Mac once was asked in an interview where he was told like, oh well, Bill Cosby believes that like the black man should always be like this positive yada 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 and have this kind of portrayal, right? Like and then like now mind you, Bernie Mac was sort of offended by this in a sense where he was like what? Like the thing is, they won't never ask this to any type of other comedian, but you know, obviously. Anyways, but Bernie Mac says like, no, there are some people that do say something in front of the camera, but then behind closed doors they do something else, right? And Bill Cosby definitely, he's on top of the world. He's very rich. He was with these guys and he was able to get away with it, right? And like you can't like I don't want to like as much as I do like the idea of Bill Cosby to have this clean cut comedian.
That's not realistic. It's not realistic.
No, but that's the thing is because like people like I don't know why people want to believe this stuff like that there's just like this perfect human being that's just like, oh no, like I don't want to do like, no, we're all, you can have, like I said, like for example, like I remember in the last podcast I said that like I don't like to masturbate. I don't do that. Like I don't like it. The reason for that is because I feel like it rewards me for nothing, right? And it kills my drive as a man. Doesn't mean I don't masturbate. When I do, I know it's wrong. I will fall to temptation, obviously, right? Like but I acknowledge the fact that it's wrong, and I don't do it like profusely. I don't overdo it. It's just that when I do it, I just want like, okay, you did it, just wash up, you know, don't like stop.
But it's healthy though. I don't know. You keep saying, but
no. I understand if you say it's healthy. Like,
don't overdo it, or your dick will fall off. But it is healthy. Masturbation is healthy.
I know, but like I said, it's just like it's sort of like a reward system. It's just how I wire my body, right? So like, and I'm saying that just because like to say is that like with Bill Cosby is like he says that, let's say for example, I don't masturbate, and he wants everybody to believe that as well. He wants to portray himself as this like perfect America's dad figure, right? And we all know that like these idols are all false. They're not true. There's nobody that's perfect out there, and especially him in particular. He was doing a shit ton of stuff. Like he was like the amount of women. The thing is the confidence he had, and I'm sure it's not just him. There's a ton of people with him that like because like when you're comfortable to do that in that environment, that's that environment is sick, right? When they're inviting models over and they're drinking, and he's readily have Quaaludes available. Who was prescribing that for him? Who was giving him those? You think Bill Cosby was? He's not a real doctor. He was getting it from somebody, which means it's commonly accepted. Like I don't.
But see, my thing is that rape is rape.
Yeah,
there are different forms of rape. Rape is rape. Let me be clear here. Rape is rape, but there are different forms of rape. And let's just keep it real. There are different forms of rape. You grabbing a woman at night, forcing her up against a tree, tearing her clothes off, and forcibly, that's for me, that's like extreme.
That's assault and rape.
Yeah, basically, that's like assault and rape. Like this is rape, but I say not rape. Because see, it's funny. When someone says that I got raped, I think of that extreme case. When someone says I got raped, I never think of date rape. It's still rape, but that's never comes into my mind.
I'll be honest with you. I feel like, look, I'll be honest. Like that's
like
date rape is.
I'm just telling you. No, I'm just telling you my mindset.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
Like this is all rape. Rape is rape. It's like you putting, because again, I always say to myself, okay, what if that was my little cousin, or my sister, or my aunt, or so forth, or like some of these guys, and he's like. I'm like, no, wait. You put a pill in there. That's messed up. So my thing is, but see, this is like a much larger point. So he's out. He's not out and he's free, and everybody is pissed off because they're like, women can't come and so forth. What can happen? And see, here's the thing is that this was obviously a technicality where he shouldn't have even gone into jail in the first place, which is crazy. It's wild. So the question you have to ask now is, you now have to now question the law. That's like, how is it a technicality where a guy admitted to date raping, drugging people, and he's not really serving the time due to a law technicality where he shouldn't have even been criminally prosecuted in the first place?
I read about it 2 days ago, so I don't really remember the exact details. But I like Tamer even mentioned in the comments, the prosecutor's fucked up because like when he did the thing is they indicted him based off a deposition that where he admitted to a lot of it, like that they used it towards the sentencing that he got, because there was only one sentence where he was allowed to be prosecuted under and go to jail. That wasn't like, that was under the not within the limits of the time limits, right? And when he did that deposition, he had signed off on something that protects him, that this can't be used against him. And they did use it against him. And that's why when the Supreme Court ruled, they ruled it out because they felt it was illegal for them to use that testimony against Cosby in the sentencing when he was granted immunity for giving that testimony. Right. So it was thrown out for that reason. That's why he came out. Not that he was innocent, not that there was like any strings pulled. It's just that the people who were trying to prosecute him, they just messed up. They really messed up. They used a piece of evidence that they shouldn't have used, which threw the whole case out. Honestly, yeah. They're up there, man. Look, personally, I'll be honest with you. Harvey Weinstein would definitely get thrown, because like Harvey Weinstein was like, he was. No, I'm not gonna joke about rape. I don't want to joke about rape. Let's just
no.
Harvey Weinstein was begging actresses. Harvey Weinstein was begging actresses, whereas Bill was begging just randos. Like, just literally look at the women that Bill raped. I'm like, bro, this guy is messed up. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna make fun of it.
No.
This is awful.
No, see, my thing about it is that, look, I'll be real with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be real with you here. Like I said again, what Bill did is crazy, but I was just going through Twitter and so forth. And here's the thing: rape is bad and so forth and everything. I'm not the guy to jump up and down for women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
Women should have these rights and they should be protected. I'm just not gonna. I am more concerned with Black rights, specifically Black women's rights, than anyone else's rights.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always said that, white women are the most pampered and catered for demographic in society. So if you're the most pampered and catered for, you should be able to look after yourself and so forth. So I cannot be here jumping up and down feet and everything unless I wanna sleep with you. So hence why a lot of guys who are jumping up and say, "Oh my God, this is wrong." Yeah, you're doing that because you obviously want to sleep with one of these women, so you want to obviously be on their side. But you see, because someone posted something in sense that if with the bill coming out now,
mm-hmm.
how does this harm women? Now, I know we don't have a woman on the show, but it is what
Bill can't get it up anymore. Don't worry, he can't harm anybody. Like, he's like, wait, how old is he? He's like 80 he's
something.
Blind. He's like almost 90. He's finished. Like, honestly, like,
well, they were saying that he was pretending to be blind.
See, but the thing is, the damage is done. Look, the damage that they could have done to Bill is already done.
My question is, so if by this happening, does that create a scenario where like women are now afraid to now sort of come forth?
No. I think now it's more so than any other time. It's the safest time for women. But the
argument is, what's the point in me coming through when you're obviously going to get a guy off?
Come out, just don't come out 60 years later. That's the problem with those women. Is that the problem is like when we're trying to like indict or like you're trying to like prosecute Bill Cosby, you're prosecuting for stuff that happened in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and like there's no evidence. And like without evidence, it's very hard. Like it's really, really hard. Like obviously we know, because when you go back and look at the track records, you see like the timing, you can be like, okay, yeah, he definitely did that shit. Like especially with the amount of people that are coming out, you could be like, okay, he definitely did that. But like for a woman, like if let's say for example, like women or men, if you're ever a victim of sexual assault, if you're ever a victim of any kind of like crime, first thing you should do is document, take pictures. If you were assaulted, you were hit, take pictures. If you're like there's DNA, next day go immediately to the police station. You can't wait. You have to go straight for their neck. Like no matter, I know it can be intimidating. It could be hard, but this is the only way we could get these guys is by having swift action. Like R. Kelly's. To be honest with you, R. Kelly, I don't know much about the R. Kelly one. I just know the one where he peed on that girl. But
no. Look, Betsy. Have you seen the documentary Surviving R. Kelly?
No, I don't watch any of that stuff, to be honest with you.
Bro, that doc is brutal. Basically, The thing with R. Kelly is that like he did it. Like he is full on guilty, and this person is having sex with literal teenagers. So R. Kelly is no, basically that is on a whole other messed level because it's rape with on the
Pedophilia.
it's rape and pedophilia.
And like from what I understand from R. Kelly,
but also as well as when you were watching the doc, he was abused.
Mhm.
So it goes back to our original point at the beginning of this whole thing. He was abused as a young child. So obviously that would have obviously messed him up. Again, it's no excuse. It's
you know
no
what it is?
excuse. A crime is a crime. But
From
still.
what I do know from R. Kelly's is that he has this like extreme dom complex, like a dominant complex where he wants to dominate. And I think that's why he goes after kids. It's messed up, and probably because he was abused, that's what made him jerk towards the opposite end of the spectrum, where he needs to now be the abuser to feel power. Not to justify him. He's a disgusting human being. Beautiful music. Remix Ignition's amazing, but
you see, this reminds me of the whole. Did you remember the whole Nate Parker story?
Yeah. I
because I think we talked about
Birth of a Nation. Yep.
Yeah, because it goes back to the whole thing of like this whole thing of rape. Because it's like it's same thing with the whole Ansari thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if a lady is tipsy and so forth, now that's where you're not sort of blurring the lines now. But then if it's a fact of the matter where a lady is tipsy and so forth, and she's feeling herself and so forth, and you just end up having sex and everything because she's very sexual and everything. And the next day you just basically ignore her and blank her, and she now regrets it. She now comes forward with like, "Oh, I was raped." Are there any grounds for that?
If he was drunk, like I'll be honest with you, here's a true story that happened to me once, right? So once I finished training at like 11 p.m. at night, right? And this one girl that I had asked her out, like she said in my DMs, I'd asked her out to go on Monday. It was a Friday night. She messages me during the day and she's like, "Hey, we're having a birthday party at my friend's house. You want to come by? Come with me?" Yada yada yada. I'm like, sure. Like I'm down. Just have training, and after that I'll swing by. So I finish at 11. I get home. I shower and everything. And I go and I pick her up. It was 12 p.m. Right, and I don't pick her up. I go to the party. When I get there, the girl was drunk. As soon as I saw that she was drunk, I hung her out for a bit, and I dipped. Like I legit, like that's it. Like I did not do anything. If you see somebody is intoxicated, my guy, if you got it, you don't need them to be drunk to get it. You know what I mean? You don't. So there's no need to rush. Exercise patience. Like you don't, because like let's say for example she was drunk and this girl was she slid into my DMs. I still actually have the Instagram DMs for proof if somebody wants. Like it's that like what happened is that like with the problem is that like you don't want to ever put yourself in that scenario to begin with. You always, as a man, move with one eye open. Even if a girl's all over you and she's sitting here and she's like telling you how beautiful you are and how good looking you are and how sexy and like your voice or whatever. Even then, bro, you don't take any of those compliments. You throw them out the window. You know who you are. You don't need anybody's validation, right? And you move accordingly. Because if you
but again, right, it's like everything you're saying is right, but situations are situations.
But here's the situation. Like this girl, I knew she liked me. Like I knew that, for example, had I done anything that night, she would have consented to it because she I know she likes me. You know what I mean? But let's just say, for example, I do something to her that night, and then I'm not interested. I don't find her attractive, or like let's say I didn't like what happened, or she wasn't my type, and I decide to not talk to her anymore, right? I decide to I'm not interested in this person. I just message her, be like, I'm not interested. At that point, if she goes like, well, he took advantage of me, I was drunk, I wasn't. She starts convincing herself that I took advantage of her, even though she was willing. But because like after I changed my mind, she can go back on that. Now, for me, I don't want to put myself in that position to begin with, so I won't touch you or anything till I know that this person is of quality, on my level of thinking. If I go and just start slinging dick to anybody, obviously the chances of girls that are gonna come out and be like, oh, yo, he did something to me, or he played with me, or he did that. Bro, you can't do that, man. You have to move as a man in 2021. Move with one eye open, whether you're in DMs, whether you're messaging a girl, whether you're out with her, whether she's drunk, whether she's sober, or anything. Move with one eye open. Trust me, it'll come to you. You don't have to go to it. You don't have to force it.
No, but my thing though is that like, so if let's say you did end up having sex with this lady and so forth. Would that be rape?
See, HH, only the
Yes or
real
no?
people.
Yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
But here's the thing, HH. I would love for us to have absolutes, but the only person that would know is me and her. But at the end of the day, it would be her. She said, he said. Like when it comes out to public, right? It's all about perception. Right. So at that point, that's why you as a man have to check for yourself and not wait and rely on like, oh, well, technically she wanted it. Like, no, but you have to make sure.
It's a point where maybe we need an app. Mm-hmm. Maybe we need an app that says, okay, click this app.
Sign right here.
It's basically click this app, and if this app cannot be used as evidence to show that this is not rape. So basically, and my thing is, but it gets tricky. She could say, "Oh no, because I was drunk and so forth, I didn't know what I was doing when I clicked accept. That says I accept to have sex for this whole." So it gets into. But as you said, if it's a situation where she said that no, I was forcibly taken advantage of, and the guy says you were very willing to have sex with me, and I remember you said you were very willing to have sex with me. So if it does no hard evidence and so forth, what do you do? What do you do? Because remember, beyond reasonable doubt. Beyond the reasonable doubt is how you prosecute someone. Bill Cosby, 60 people, that is beyond the reasonable doubt. But he said, she said, there is no, that's not beyond the reasonable doubt.
I'll give you know Mike Tyson's case?
Vaguely.
Okay, I'll give you guys a quick run. I'll give you a quick rundown about some of the facts around that case. And Mike Tyson was convicted of this, by the way. Mind you, he did have a tax lawyer defending him. He didn't actually have a real lawyer. He had a tax lawyer. So because King set him up because he wanted to steal his money. But Mike Tyson took a girl to his hotel room at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? They had sex. And then she came the next morning and said it was rape, right? She went to his room at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? Like you obviously know when you go to somebody's house at 4 a.m. in the morning, there's two things that's gonna happen, right? Either you're just too drunk and you can't drive and you just want to go to sleep, or you're just going to fuck, right? That's the two things, right? Like that's he said, she said. Not only that, this girl, there was a witness that came to the trial, her ex-boyfriend, that said that she threatened him to accuse him of rape. If he were to because her dad is a pastor, if he were to say anybody that they had sex after prom, because if he said that they had sex, because that would make her dad mad at her, said, I'm just going to say that you raped me, right? So, yeah, he just wanted to go over the stuff. Exactly. Like, see, that's the thing is like, so she had that, and despite that, Mike Tyson was convicted of rape. For you guys, that's what I'm telling you guys is that you can't move out here recklessly like that. Even if you know the girl likes you, even if you know she might consent or anything, if you see she's drunk, if you see she's not in her proper mind, if you see any of that stuff, it's not worth it. Trust me, that pussy's not that good, bro.
But I say, right, that's right. We're increasing because the Me Too movement is so and see, this is where it gets bad. Is that again, those women who are raped. This is why I'm so happy for them, because this is a time in which people cannot listen to you. The worst are the liars, because people understand that women are not these kind of special. No, women are human beings, and human beings are fickle by nature. Human beings lie, and there are women that lie. There are women, horrible people who will take this movement and use it for their benefit and lie, and make it harder for the women who have been raped. So the women who have been raped and this has gone through, it is harder for them when you have that small minority who will now lie, say, oh my gosh, wait a minute, I can be believed because I hate this dude and I want to ruin this dude. I'm just going to tell a lie and just ruin him. And that's hence why there needs to be something more concrete with these freaking situations, man.
Bro, you know? or you must have just said some wild shit. And then... That's not my point, my guy. That's not I mean, do you, man? God, like if it does it for you, it does it for you. But like, see, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, that's a perfect example of why you should always look at the facts. Like, I'm the type of guy, personally, for everybody here, like I like to look at all the facts. I don't be like, oh well, men we're victims. We're getting accused. No, bro, men do some wild shit to women, bro, and women are really put up with a lot of weird, fucked up shit that we do. But at the same time, I'm not pro like believe all women. You want to have a healthy balance, but look at the
Mm.
nuances. With that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, do you know that story, HH?
I've been trying to figure it out and so forth and
Here,
everything.
I'll give you the example. Amber Heard just from the jump went out and said that Johnny Depp was pretty much abusive and he was like aggressive with her and he was just like
And didn't she like
just,
scratch herself and beat herself up and everything and give her
essentially, yeah, like
self-harm?
she made him look like he was a monster, like he was this abusive husband,
Johnny
right?
Depp.
Johnny
Johnny
Depp.
Depp.
Yeah. She made him look out crazy. And then videos came out of just her abusing him. Like he's sitting there like docile. Why are you mad? I just don't understand why. And she's like, it's because you're, and she's like mad and like she's yelling and she's like, I didn't hit you. Stop being such a little bitch. I barely even touched. Like she was going off on this guy. Like it was crazy. But the public perception viewed her as the victim initially and they went after Johnny Depp. It was until like 2 or 3 years later that like the video came out and like the evidence started coming out that people started really.
Did this really happen?
I mean that's what people like. There's a lot of stories. She beat him. Apparently, she. There's a lot of things. I don't know what's all true. I can't co-sign that like because I don't know exactly, but I do know that she did a lot of stuff to him. She full on made his life a living hell.
I mean that's not.
Yeah, no,
that's wild, man. That's like. I mean, my thing is. Look, so guys, last 20 minutes or so, sending questions, guys. We'll answer some questions. So guys in live chats, any questions you want us to answer, send these the questions or send some questions. Look, my thing is, look, Bill is out. It is what it is. People are pissed off, but blame the system.
Yep.
Blame the system. Don't blame Bill. Blame the system and how he manipulated it. But there's a point you made as to, and this is again trying to play devil's advocate before people defend him, that this is just how things were done back then, that everyone was doing it. So Bill's argument is, again, this is not me. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So I don't believe this. So Bill's argument is that, well, this was what everyone was doing. This was an acceptable thing back then. So it may not be acceptable now, but obviously back then it was the thing to do. Like if you went to a party and so forth, you do it. So, but again, a counteract to that is, hey, back in the 1800s, blacks were property and they could be whipped and so forth. But if you were found to do that 100 years later, I can still prosecute. See, now that's the thing. Can you still prosecute someone for something that was that was legal and acceptable way back when?
No. See. Here's the thing,
which is wild. So basically, let's say 60s in some of these crazy states in America where you could easily beat a black guy and so forth and get off with it. If like, I know that there's statutes of limitations and so forth. They obviously exist.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, see. But the thing is, when I was saying that earlier, I wasn't justifying Bill's actions. I was just saying that like it's just more conclusive evidence towards him being guilty is that they were all doing it. It was wrong. They were like, there's a ton of women that will tell you, they'll show your experiences when they go to Hollywood.
Wait, so quickly, Josh, that is the whole point of this show. Is we want you to disagree, well, as long as the conversations but the whole point of it is for you to disagree.
Yeah. Me and HH, by the way, literally, guys, like if you like, this is what we want. If you have a differing opinion, like let us know. Like we're willing to learn. Like me and HH are both literally just guys. Yeah. Like we're just
guys with. Hence, we're just guys. And what I like is we have viewpoints. Mm-hmm. And I think the issue with society is, and I sometimes have this issue in football discourse. People want to live in echo chambers, and people only want to be with people who agree with them, and people are not willing to put themselves out there and say, "This is how I feel." Like I'm willing to put myself out there and say, "I have no issues with if you're gay or lesbian." But I do feel a bit comfortable seeing two men kissing in public. That makes me uncomfortable.
I'll be honest with you.
So does that make me bad? But that's my that is me being honest.
See, but I'll be honest with you. I'm uncomfortable with PDA in general, public displays of affection. Like if I see a couple kissing in front of me, bro, that's just as nasty as watching two guys kiss in public. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, Red. I'll be real with you. Let me be real with you. public display is a bit weird, but if I see a man and woman kissing, I'll just be like, oh, okay. It doesn't do anything. I'm like, okay. Why are you doing this here? But I'm like, okay, fine.
No,
But
bro.
I'll just sort of go with
Once
it.
you start hearing that, bro, like get the fuck out of here. Stop. Get that out of here. But let's see. I don't know. Just for me personally.
No. Okay. For me personally, if I see a man and woman, I'll just sort of move to a different place. But it doesn't bother me. I'm like, okay, this is a bit. Why are you doing this? But if I see two men kissing, I'm like, oh. But then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. See, because when I do that initially, I'm like, wait a minute, whoa, am I homophobic? But no, that's just the initial thing. So I'm like, oh, whoa, geez, okay, this is a bit, But that's just like my initial reflex.
I get it. No, it's because it's not something you're used to seeing, right? It's something that's very like abstract for you. Like you've never really looked at it, so it's gonna stand out to you much more. For me personally, like I'm not gonna lie, like I've when it comes to like people just in general displaying affection in public, I just feel like it's not that it's inappropriate. Obviously, like you do whatever, it's kind of inappropriate, but like I just don't. It just makes me feel uncomfortable, no matter what, man or woman. But yeah. See, I'm going to get into that, but just because like, we're talking about this, right? I just want to go into bisexuality, just real quick, because the people are asking about it. Like, here's my thing, man, is that honestly, it's that's what makes it like this is what makes for the whole LGBTQ community. It makes it confusing for me because guys, I'm going to explain it to you like from my point of view as a straight man that really doesn't have much exposure to it. Is that let's say, for example, when somebody tells me they're bi, that sort of goes against when somebody says they're gay because you're saying it's nurture, so you're born this way. But how can you be bi? That means you're choosing between the two. But at the same time, when somebody tells you I identify as a woman, that goes against what liberals and most people in the LGBTQ believe, that men and women are all equal. But if you're saying that you believe that you feel like a woman, that means by nature you're saying that men and women are not equal; they're different, right? Like they have their own different because how can I feel like a woman if we're both
it's. Are liberals necessarily saying that we're all equal, or are liberals saying that, hey, you can be whatever you want to be? It's your freedom to choose.
But like you can, but I can understand that you can be born bisexual. I understand that, but like I said, like from my point of view, because I'm not discussing the legality or if it's okay or if it's wrong. I personally like do you, bro. Like I'm not going to be hating on anybody for the choices that they make, what they represent. I'm going to be with you. I will empower you. We're talking about, bro, is like, how do we accept it as a culture? How do we implement it into our culture? Like, what are the guidelines? What are the rules, right? Like, help me understand it. Help me figure it out a little bit more. Is like how do all these things fit together? You know what I mean? Like, I want to see like how can you be like, for example, like what's the difference between if somebody tells me like they're gay, like they just like men, I understand that. Somebody tells me they're lesbian, they just like women, I understand that. When somebody tells me they're bi, that to me is a bit more unique. Not that it's anything wrong with it. It's just I'm like, okay, how do you like both? Because for me, like I can understand when somebody finds a man
because they just say I'm attracted to both.
That again, I guess it could work. Again, for me, it's just because again, it's very. I just don't know. I just find it. I just don't really understand the concept.
No. It's very hard to understand it if you're not with. Because again, it's hard for us to wrap around that because we're both heterosexual dudes, so it's hard. But I can sort of like, let's say somebody is acting, you just want to imagine yourself where, hey, you just find that somehow you're attracted to women, and the body is the body. So naturally, oh, I like men. Oh, I like women. I like women. I like men. So sometimes I like men. Sometimes I like women. So your body just doing these things. So have you seen the video of the white guy that turned Korean because he felt like it? Someone sent it to me, and
I saw it.
It was horror, and I hope to never see anything like that again.
Yeah, like I'll be honest with you, like
so Red, my thing is, I see at one point I want to say
the entitlement, man. The entitlement.
No, okay. See, this is where it just gets weird. Because I say, hey, do anything you want to do as long as you don't harm anyone. That's extreme. You're not changing your eyes and so forth and everything. It's not illegal. It's just a bit psychotic.
It's insulting. If I'm Korean, I'm insulted. Like, first of all.
It's like that's Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, it's insulting to the people.
Who became black, and she became like the leader of the African American.
She became in the NCAA.
Yeah.
But like, here's my thing. You can't just change your appearance and just say you are something, right? I can't just grow out my beard and braid it and just start telling people I'm Nordic and I'm a Viking, right? No, I'm not. That's not my lineage. It's not my heritage. Like I could do that. Yes, like people are gonna tolerate me, but that doesn't change my genetic makeup or my lineage.
Because someone also sent me a video of like this. This was a woman, a full woman, and said, "Well, I just want to say I'm really a man." Wow! I was like, "Excuse me." This is a woman with a female voice, and says, "No, I'm really a." I'm like, you see, Red, you can't do that.
Like that's the thing is like
you can't. I'm sorry. I know that we want to be liberal people. You can't do that. This is too much.
Like honestly, like the thing is like I like look. When you're trying to change definitions of what you are, like, look, that guy who changed himself into Korean, like, he could.
Yeah, so yeah, it was MT who sent us to say, yeah. Shout out to MT. Thank you for it. It was MT who sent out the video. Yeah.
No, because like with that video, like, obviously he's not hurting anybody. Him doing it is not like affecting anyone. It's just him. But what he's doing, like, just for everybody else that might be considering that, like, it's very insulting. It actually is, like, for example, like, he even like put the rainbow flag on Korea, which, like, I don't know what Korea stands on. South Korea stands is on LGBTQ, but they take their flag very seriously. It's actually against the law to change anything up on their flag. Like, if you were to, it's considered like insulting. So you're insulting the people that really are behind it. And Koreans are very, very proud. Like, they're very, very proud.
Oh yeah. Everyone in that Far East, man.
Like.
Why are people these days confronted by people's preferences? Because people are sensitive and so forth. Because again, it's like me saying that, like, for instance, like, there are white guys who may find it offensive that a white chick says, "Sorry, I only date black guys," and they'll be angry, the white woman, towards it and so forth. But I'm like, a preference isn't evidence of hate or discrimination. Mm-hmm. A preference is what it means. It's a preference. I prefer this. Now, you may prefer this for racial reasons. You may be like on some neo-Nazi stuff and say, "No, I only prefer white people because that black stuff is disgusting. I don't want to mix with any other race because this other race is icky. That's maybe true, but in most cases, it's really down to your preference. As I said again, I have dated people of all races. And here's my thing. I actually do like to date people that are non-white or non-black, because I'm like, oh, let me just try and experiment with someone. Now, if I was to get married to somebody, they have to be black. If I'm going to start with kids, I'm saying black. But if it's just for anyone, it's anyone for any race, because I want to see people of different cultures, experiences, and so forth, because I know that I'm not settling down with you. I'm just experiencing stuff. But if I now want to have kids, Rishabh, because I believe in the black woman as a stronger mother type figure, for me, doesn't mean that white mothers or Arabic mothers are trash. Just for me, how I've grown up, I would want a black woman as the mother of my kids. You know, so there's nothing wrong with that at all, man. So from your boy Sage, thank you for the dub, Sage. Sage says, "Why should we accept them when they couldn't accept themselves?" Also, have you guys talked about abortion before? Maybe that's
next week.
Next week we'll talk about. That's a big one.
Yeah, man.
That's it. Because I've been back and forth on that, man. A lot. I will be back and forth. So yeah, so we'll do that.
It's very, for me, yeah. I never like. It's very hard because there's so much nuance in that.
Is a lot of nuance.
But one answer, just an answer to the previous question, just because I want to see what your sense is. Man, there's two sides to that coin. The first side is like for preferences, is that there's a lot of people that are changing their preferences, are changing definitions, and that's what people are bothered by. Right? Like when people are like, let's say, for example, oh, well, I just want to be like a woman, but they also want to be treated 100% like a woman, like compete in women's Olympics and stuff like that. Your preference at that point is encroaching on other people's rights. So it would definitely, like, that's why you see people get offended. Another opposite end of that is that sometimes hate is stronger than love. So when people hate something together, You know what I mean? They tend to go into these echo chambers where they just become group bullies, just like online. Like you'll see, like I see all the time where, let's say, a couple will just post a picture of them together, and people, for whatever reason they have, it could be about anything, whether it's religion, race, or whatever, politics. Like people will go in and just destroy this couple for just because, oh, like how could a right winger be with a left winger, or how could this black guy be with this white woman, or how could this, like, whatever it is, just because of their preference, or like that's that person's preference, they will hate on them because they want to take that one person and make it representative of a bigger problem that doesn't really exist. It just exists on the internet in these echo chambers. But yeah,
but Sage, what do you mean by should we accept them when they couldn't accept themselves? By them, who are you referring to? So just tell us in the live chats who you're referring to with regards to that. I don't know. I want to answer
yep,
that. So,
that's spot on, Tamer. It's like most of the people online that they go they go after people for their preferences tend to be just literally cultists. That's what's happening on the internet now. You just have cults of people.
No. That's, and when you say your preference, they take that as an attack.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is psycho, because you just said, I prefer this. I don't hate these people. You know, I prefer this. Dean Klaski says that humans would be more advanced if it wasn't for religion. Flip side.
I disagree.
No, wait. Okay, flip side. So maybe, keyword, maybe, flip side. You take away religion, there are more wars. Religion, as much as you can blame religion for wars, religion is what keeps society together. Take religion away from African countries, you'll have you will have chaos. Mm-hmm. You'll have complete chaos. So religion is what gives people meaning, direction, and everything. You take that away, you have more mental illness.
It brought
more
civility.
People who are crazy, and basically, the world would you'd have people go mad. There would be more madness, and there'd be more wars, and basically there'd be more anarchy in most societies if you took religion away. So,
see, here's the thing, Dean Classic. Like for me, what I think about this is like we live in a modern world right now, where right now we have police, we have armies that protect us, we have order, we have like a whole structure where you don't really need to really self-control yourself, because like society already has you in check. You don't murder not because it's not right, but because also you could go to jail. You don't steal not because it's just not right, but because there's repercussions for your actions. So you are in a sense where you're saying like, oh, religion is like surplus to requirement. I understand what you're saying there, but if you actually look historically speaking, 1500, 2000 years ago, religion is what civilized man. Religion was a necessary step for mankind as a whole, as an existence, for us to come into this world that we live in right now. I'll speak, for example, I'm not going to speak on like Western religion in the West and in Europe, because obviously, even though there's a lot of steps there, I'm going to speak on, for example, in the Islamic world, in the Abbasine era, for example, where 2/3 of, let's say, the astrology, the stars that we've discovered in the world right now, was discovered in that era. That because the Khalifa at the time, he encouraged science a lot. A lot of the books that the Greek philosophers were translated from Greek over to Arabic, which was then when they were in Andalusia, which is modern day Spain, they translated it back into Latin. So a lot of the Greek philosophers, we would have lost them if it wasn't for Islam preserving that kind of knowledge and moving it into the Latin country. Another thing is algebra. Al-Jabr, it's an Arabic word. It was popularized during the Abbasine era. Religion, what it did is during its prime period, which is like pre-internet, like all these luxuries, it made man civil. It made man prioritize his hygiene. It made man honor like his neighbor, not steal, and not use not to commit adultery. It put these checks and balances that we have nowadays.
But Red, it doesn't negate his point though, that you take religion away, and if there are now more people focused much more on science, and you have more people in society thinking scientifically, we would be much more advanced.
But that's not true.
Because I have another theory that states that if there was no racism, we would be much more advanced. Because if there was no racism and more people and more cultures we had access to scientific thinking and scientific theory and so forth. No, it's just numbers. More people, more brains, more ideas.
Facts.
It's like 50 smart people will have a greater chance of thinking of something more much advanced than 5 smart people. So let's go to get to this job. So from Ogopo says, religion was brought to separate us from animals. We are animals, by the way.
Mhm.
So we're not separate. Now, we may be more advanced animals. We're still animals. And there are
Mhm.
some human beings who I think are much more regressive than some animals out there. So just keep it real. There are some monkeys and gorillas who are much more advanced than some human beings up in this piece. And Ogopa says again, God created Adam and Eve, not
Bro,
Adam
come
and
on, bro. Don't use that, bro. Don't use that's on Facebook, bro. You got that on Facebook, bro. look, look, bro. Like,
also Adam and Eve didn't. Adam and Eve is an allegory. It didn't happen. It's not
bro.
historical. It's an allegory.
See,
It didn't happen. So that isn't historical. Adam and Eve is not historical.
Ogopa, like, here's the thing, bro. It's like, there's no point in fighting it. I'm gonna tell you, bro. Like, for me, I'm very transparent with what I am. I'm transparent of who I am and what I believe, because I'm not the type of guy that's gonna affect or hurt anybody, and I'm all for people. I'm always gonna support people over governments and corporations. So I'm always for the if you're poor in that, I'm on your side no matter what. Even if you like, even if you're against me, I do believe that that's just ignorance, because you're blaming me for something that happened to you by corporations. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, bro, like, trust me, gay has always existed. Go back to ancient Greece and ancient Rome and all that stuff. Like, look up pederasty. Like, in ancient Greece, man-boy relationships were more popular than just regular relationships. Like, it's been a part of human culture. So what I'm trying to say is, like, instead of just fighting it or trying to be like, oh, like, again, like, we're against, like, the homosexuality, stuff like that, like, just let it happen. Focus on yourself, focus on your family. If you believe that you don't want a poor male, because there's no really, like, male representation, and that's what causes men to be gay. Be that male representation. Make sure that you're an example for the men around you, and guide them the way you want to live, and let them, like, and let life go that way. But instead of, like, fighting it or using, like, these kind of terminology to go and hate on gay people, because, for whatever decision they want to make, bro, like, honestly, how does it affect me or you? Not that, like, I understand that we can set these, like, these like, you're worried about the precedent and worried about the future, but at the end of the day, bro, like, if you're religious like me, we believe, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, that in the end, God will judge on Judgment Day. That's why it's called Judgment Day. It's not for man to judge. God will judge on Judgment Day. We live in an era right now where it's very secular, where governments are in power. We don't, like, what was signed to Dean Classic earlier, is that before, where we would have religion to do these checks for us to not commit these atrocities, now we're checked by governments in power, right? So there's no point in really arguing it or fighting it or doing all this stuff. All it does is this creates more pushback. And I want to live in a world where, we can just be accepting. Like, who cares? Just as long as you're providing for yourself. Sorry.
So let me just hit this. Also, Chainsaw DH, thank you for the noise. He says, open hangout. I'm in the community, but hate it. Which community do you mean by this, though? And yeah, I mean, I just need to find time. Basically, after the Euros and Copa, I mean, yeah, we'll definitely going to bring back that open hangout for you guys to say what's up to you. So yeah, so that open hangout is definitely going to come back. Don't worry. And MC says, all I'm saying is Amber Heard, holla at your boy.
Yo, bro, same here, man.
Which is true, but she may be
she
a
can
little bit
abuse
psycho.
me any day of the week, bro. She can abuse me any day of the week, bro. Like, bro, don't, like, for her, bro, I'd simp, bro. I'd simp. For Amber Heard is beautiful, man. Did you see her in Aquaman? Jesus, she was beautiful. She was so beautiful.
No. She had, man. She had. But just that, are you willing to accept the amazing beauty and everything for someone potentially shitting on your bed? That's the thing.
You see, that's wild, bro. Because, like, that to me is a deal breaker. I'll be honest with you. Like, this is on a side note, but, like, for me, I can never see my partner in a washroom. I just can't. Using the washroom, like, taking a shit, like, it's a huge turn off for me. Like, it's something I can never unsee. So, like, do your thing. That's when couples sometimes tell me, like, oh, like, we share the wash. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, I could shower together.
Because they're deeply in love, man. They're deeply in love.
No.
Because we're so deeply in love, why can't you see me piss, shit, and all that kind of stuff, man? Because we're so intertwined. That's true love.
I just can't, bro. I can't even see if I'll be honest with you, bro. If let's say, for example, I took a video of myself, I can't even look at myself shitting, bro. That's like, it's just for me. It's just like, I can't, like, instant repulsion. Like, I can't. Like, I don't want that.
So this and back to so I think Sage before he said that, how can we accept people if they don't accept themselves? So he's referring to people who think that there are 57 genders.
Yeah.
I mean, look, okay.
Valid
so I think
point.
How can I accept somebody who? Well, his retort can be No, I have accepted myself. I accept that I have got 57 genders. Or accept that there are 300 genders. That's me accepting myself. So now you may be saying to yourself, no. You are not accepting yourself because you have a specific gender. But they say, no, this gender I was given is wrong. So
that is what's it called? Like for me, to be honest with you, when it comes to like about 57, like I honestly just don't understand them. Like I agree with you in the sense where like you believe you're something else and you were born in the wrong body, which that in itself for me is insulting because I don't feel like there's mistakes. You are what you are.
what else? Lance Hammer, out of pockets for what? What did I say? How out of pocket? What did I
For
say?
the shitting on the bed comment, I'm assuming.
No. But my thing is this: that would you still rock with Amber Heard if she shat on the bed?
Bro, I'm not gonna ask what a blumpkin is, by the way. Oh yeah, like I'm gonna ask what a blumpkin is. No, guys. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a germaphobe. I do have a little bit of OCD. I do like organization. But to be honest with you, I don't know what it is. It's just maybe it's the thing is my brain is
no,
basic.
real quick.
Yep.
Can you respond to this? This is interesting. As a Muslim, I don't hate homosexuals, but as a Muslim, my religion states that homosexuality is immoral because God said so, and I follow my religion.
No, and
where do you stand on that?
So I agree with him. I do agree with him. It's just that I choose to not be the one to judge them or persecute them. I don't have power. I'm just literally a guy. So they could do whatever they're doing over there. I'm not going to stand against them. I'm not gonna be out there marching for them, but I will. Let's say, for example, I will always defend their rights as a human beings. I don't want them to be hurt. I don't want them to be affected. I don't want them to be bullied. I don't want more hate in the world. But I do. In my religion, it is forbidden. So I personally don't follow it, and I allow God to be the one to judge. That's how I view it. It's not like I'm not trying to justify under Islamic rule that be like, no, in Islam actually we're very no. In Islam it's absolute. It says that it's not tolerated. It says that whenever a man is like every time a man is penetrated, the throne shakes. يهتز العرش. يهتز العرش. Like it's the throne shakes in the skies, the heavens shake. That's how that's how we believe in it. But again, like that's my personal belief. I'm not here to put my morals on everybody else. I'm not God to judge anybody else. When I lead by example. I'm transparent with all of you guys. I tell you guys what I believe. I tell you guys that I'm Muslim. I tell you where my train. Whenever I give an opinion, I try to give my reasoning behind it, so you guys can understand where it's coming from me. Not to be a bigot or anything, but it's just how I see it.
No. As I said, look for me. I think as I've already said before, I'm spiritual. I grew up very, very Christian and so forth, but like I think I've gone away from being religious and being a lot more spiritual, and maybe that's something that we'll maybe discuss next week with regards to religion and my issues with religion, because what's it called? Hazan has been trying to get me to look at Islam and so forth, and I said to Hazan, there is no chance I will ever be within a religion. I respect religions. There is no chance I will ever be confined to a religion because that's just not my personality and so forth. MT says, Amber, you and I will do stunners and rock bottoms. But if she shits when you give her a stunner or rock bottom, will you still continue doing them if she shits on you while she does them? That's the reality. Okopa says, what about the people of Lot? LET. What is this? What is LET?
Okay, so Lut. So fun fact, we don't in Arabic when you wanna like the F word faggot, we say Luti, right? And that's derived from the word Lut. Lut is a tribe of people that they were homosexual, right? They were just homosexual. I forgot the prophet. I think the prophet's name was it? Shoot, I actually literally forgot the name of the prophet. If somebody knows the name of the prophet, just put it down. But he came upon them and he was telling them, like, you guys have women, you guys have like don't do, but these men just continue to chase men. So what God did is he lifted up their land and and he crushed, like it flipped on its head, like it got essentially, like what it said, what it's written is that the land was just flattened. It all went to dust. Is his name Lut? No, it was. Yeah, you're right. I think you might be right.
So someone saying Lot, Lut.
Yeah, sorry, Bani Lut. Yeah, like so his name, the prophet's name was Lut. But like the people of Lut, like his people, his followers, were all homosexuals, and God smit them. Like it's like the story of in Christianity, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Also Sodom and Gomorrah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's similar to that story, but like for us, it's Lut alayhi salatu salam. Yeah, like he was the one that was.
Some people are just mentioned, this whole thing about shitting. Basically, I'm not going to go into any details. Let's just say, Red, I had a horrific experience.
No, did you have an Alaskan popsicle?
Wait, what the heck is that?
You Google it, man. Just Google it.
I don't want to Google that. I'm not Googling
just
it.
Google an Alaskan popsicle.
No, I'm not going to Red. Look, somebody coerced me into watching two guys, one girl. God. And I was like, oh,
two girls, one cup.
No, so 2 girls, 1 cup. I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, oh, wait. Have you seen the thing when you see Kermit the No. When Kermit the Frog is watching it.
No, I haven't. Is that
Kermit's basically watching? He's like, oh my god, what the fuck? And then he basically grabs like lube.
No,
I'll send it to you. It is hilarious, because Kermit the Frog, he starts to watch it. He looks right there. He starts to fast. It's sick, man. It's disgusting.
No, bro. That like, I'll be honest. Like, I think you know what? I think 2 girls, 1 cup is the reason why I can't watch a girl use a washroom. Because I remember to this.
It's horrible. No, that's just messed up.
I had the Nokia 7610, right? That was the one that was the teardrop. Like, we called it the Dama back home. But I had that phone in the 7th grade, right? And I remember my friend was like, oh, like back then you'd send porn through a Bluetooth. We didn't have it, like, the internet wasn't available. Like, porn wasn't like it was right nowadays. So my friend sent me this video. He's like, no, check this out. It's actually it's so hot. You open it, was 2 girls and they were beautiful. And it starts off, everything is just amazing. And it takes such a left turn that it just flies off the cliff and crashes. I have never been the same since that video. I don't click on links anymore at all.
Oh, no. I'm done with the links. So before we get out of here, so I think he says Odell Beckham should play for the Cleveland Browns.
I'm not. I'll be honest with you. Football, bro. That's all I know.
All I know is that he's an NFL dude who's like pretty famous, and he was in the.
I know Odell Beckham Jr. I'm aware of him, but like I've heard that like he plays for the New York Giants, and aren't they ass? Isn't New York ass in all sports?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, all I know is that he's a famous dude, but I'm not really that NFL dude. So, guys, look, man, we're gonna get out of here, man. So, Red, man, this has been a good one, man. It's been
absolutely, man. Always a pleasure, HH. Always a pleasure.
So remember, we're gonna be here next Sunday.
Yep.
So guys, every Sunday we will be here around the same time. But I'll obviously schedule it on silver. So every Sunday around this time, 7 p.m. London time, 2 p.m. Toronto, New York time, and so forth. We'll be here doing a thing. And guys, if there are any questions you want us to go through, I will tweet out like an email that you can send them to. So obviously, what I want to happen is that you can now email us questions beforehand, and I can then send them to Red, that we can now really think about them in much more detail, research them before we go through, because I want to do like a mailbag where we could just say, oh Lord. Okay. Uyema says, watch 2 kids in a sandbox. Oh, sorry. So watch 2 kids in a sandbox and 2 guys and 1 horse.
Bro, I don't want to get arrested, bro. I don't know, but I'm not gonna. Maybe the second one, I'll check it out just out of curiosity, just to see how sick you are, Uyema. But like the first one, bro, I don't want to go to jail, bro. You have to give me the description first.
Actually, I think he makes a good point. The Euro final is on a Sunday, so maybe we'll have to record this a lot earlier.
Yeah, no worries. Or if you want to do like a later date, or maybe like skip next Sunday, we'll do this Sunday after.
We'll probably do this Sunday after, because Sunday is the final. Then boom, we'll get back to everything on the Sunday. So guys,
sounds good.
Peace out. Stay true. Like all that kind of stuff. And be out of here, man. Peace.